Hello Q4, my name is Chris. Welcome to A Reseller's Life. In this episode, I'm going to go over my best tips and tricks to take advantage of Q4, the busiest time of the year. I'm hoping that in the next 3 months, I make as much money as the rest of the year combined. But let's get straight into it. I'm coming to you guys live from my storage unit. It's a 600 square foot storage shed, and I power it using this Yeti 400. It's a lithium battery. I take this home every day, charge it, and then bring it back. It gives me about 6 to 8 hours of juice, enough to get my shipping and listing done. Reselling is hard work. There's a lot of stuff to do, and I want to give you guys some ideas on how to really take advantage of it this year. And I want to start with my basic plan. So I think everyone in the chat can do this, everyone at home. I want you guys to comment your name below if you want to do this with me, which is listing at least 4 times a week, at least one item. Now, the reason why I set that threshold so low is I'm trying to build a habit. The people who have a consistent listing habit do just fine with reselling. Having a consistent shopping habit doesn't mean anything. You have to get this stuff listed, have to list it at the correct price, you have to spend the right time researching the market. That's way more important than shopping. Every single individual item in every single size has a different market. If you're asking me which platform should you sell it on, you're asking the wrong question. Let's take this for example. This is a pair of crazy explosive prime knit Adidas basketball shoes in size 12. I picked this up today at a thrift store, and I picked up 2 items, this item and then this bookshelf Sony sound system. Those 2 items, and this meets my minimum threshold of $45 gross, and I paid $15. So that's the cheapest thing I'll buy is $45 that I think it's going to sell for, and I'll never pay more than 1/3 if there's only one of the item. Okay, so this is a good example because it's right at the market. This item sells between $60 and $100 depending on the color, size, and the demand for each individual shoe. So this one I know in particular is a size 12. There are no other size 12s that are like period, especially one in this condition like new. I should be able to get $45 for it. I'm not in a hurry, so when I list this item, I will wait for all the money. And I think it's important to understand there are some items that are quick flips. For example, if I was selling a pair of wedges, these are really common. And I think if the market is flooded, I might let these go for $25, even though I paid, let's say, $15 for them. Just to get that quick $3 or $4 fast, there's too many people selling that for me to get the full market value. Versus this, there's only one of them, I'm going to ask the full amount. So every single market, every single size has a different individual price that will work. And most importantly, every platform is different. So as you guys grow your business, start to realize that selling similar stuff saves you an insane amount of time. Okay, so as you grow, let me give you guys an example of selling similar items. So down here in my storage system, I can store right around, I'd say around 8,000 items in my store. But let me give you an example of what happens when you start selling similar stuff or stuff that's all the same. So in this bin, every item in it is different. And so when you do that and you do warehouse design, over 60% of the space, in my opinion, should be air. That way you can open up the bin and quickly look at what it is that you're selling, reach in, pull it out, and then ship it. If it's filled to the top and every single item is different, then you need to actually pull out the bin, look through everything to find the right one. You'll see a lot of warehouses actually cut a window in this box so they can just reach in without pulling the box out. Now, that being said, this bin right here is full of the exact same item, and it's filled all the way to the brim. And I don't need to do a cutout in the front of it because every single item in that bin is exactly the same. So as my reselling business matures and I get more and more items that are the same, I actually need less and less space. I also need less employees because I'm listing a lot less. The thing that really blew my mind was the largest Amazon seller is PharmaPacks. They only have 10,000 SKUs. That's not that many. Most of us with a small team, you could list 10,000 different items, but are you talented enough to find replenishables, meaning the same types of items that save you time, space, efficiency? I'll give you an example of something that's not efficient. It is this Sony bookshelf system. I bought it for $20 today. They'll sell between 80 and 160. It's going to take 3 or 4 times longer though to ship that item than it does a pair of shoes. So I have to factor that in and I have to earn a lot more money. Do not just take a $20 profit on something that's going to take you an hour or 2 hours to ship. It's still a poor use of your time. So you need to weigh the pros and cons. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to keep you guys on this plan that I have in the reseller field guide below. It's $35 if you guys want to pick it up. It's just all my best ideas and a guide to earning $1,000 a week, but you can do it for free. Basically 4 times a week you need to list 5 to 10 $15 profit items or more, but try to create the habit of listing at least 1 item per week. Now for me, I recommend trying to source in 3 different categories when you're getting started. So for me, I think vintage electronics are pretty common. This still has the iPod adapter on the bottom. That's like from iPhone, I think 5 or younger, has that adapter, so you can tell right away it's getting pretty old already. But people still buy old electronics. People still replace old electronics, and these are being donated a lot. So I want to be realistic. Pick 3 categories for me. It's going to be cool stuff, shoes, and electronics. But I can just get by where I live in particular, buying 5 to 10 shoes each day that I'm going to make 15 or more profit on to keep it simple. So I'm doing electronics and fun stuff because it's interesting to me. But if I was just going pure scale, I might just focus on just one. I would go out and look for 20, 25 shoes a day, drive nonstop, or I would sit at a computer at a coffee shop and for 8 hours just look for specific shoes all day to bring to me, because there's no way you can find less shoes online than you can, you can find way more shoes online than you can in person, just because of how many shoes there are to buy. That being said, some people will run into a capital problem because sometimes buying shoes online, the flip costs a little bit more money. You may be spending 80 or 90 to make $20 because just the nature of online arbitrage. So you really need to understand your market before you start getting into that game, but it is 100% easier. Just think about how many thousands of shoes you can look at through a day versus how many shoes you can just look at driving around. And some people may not be in an area where it's actually conducive to do that. So depending on where you live, as long as you have an internet connection, you focus on one category, I think you can do it. So I want to give you guys a couple more thoughts on shoes. Should you sell hype stuff like Supreme, right? Should you get into this game where there's a lot more profit? For my recommendation is no. And the reason is because it's too hard to find the supply. What you want to do is get stuff that's repeatable and you can do over and over and over again. And that really just comes from business relationships. So what that means is you need to know managers, you need to know suppliers, you need to know distributors. Without that, without consistent supply, you can't build a business. What you have is a job. Nothing wrong with that. It just means that you are a picker and your income, your hourly is just based on how good you are at picking. If you're really good at finding $100 items for 10, you can still only find X amount of those every single week, versus if you have somebody helping you find stuff, suppliers, distributors, liquidators, whatever, auctioneers, when they have their eye out looking for the inventory that you like to sell, now you just leveled up because there's more than one person looking for goods. That's really the secret to all of this, which is you need more people looking for stuff, you need more people buying stuff, and it's always a game of looking for the best places to put your money. If you buy inventory and it does bad, how to quickly get rid of it. And the main thing in order to achieve all of this is just having the right habits. And I'm just trying to be as honest about that as possible. The hardest part of this is being consistent. Reselling is not that difficult. You just find something that sells below the market, that you can purchase for below market and sell closer to what actual market is, or in some cases you can sell for over market if the demand is really super high. So the thing I can give you, the best advice I can to creating a more steady habit, is actually taking care of yourself. This comes from sleep, eating better, drinking more water. Sounds pretty basic, but if you develop the habit of exercise, it's easier to say no to different stuff because you've already put in the effort. Each habit that you build, listing, sleeping a little bit earlier, eating healthy, spending time with quality people, starts to stack, and it starts to become easier and easier to say no to people who suck, say no to foods that suck, actually get enough rest because you're so excited to spend time with the people you love and the job you enjoy. You just take better care of yourself. So that's a little preachy, sorry about that, but if you agree, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know in the chat below what your name is if you want to join me on this challenge of listing 4 times a day. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Good luck, everybody.